financial goals are still intact, or your money goals. I know that a whole lot of things are tampering right now with our financial goals, our money goals, but don't take your eyes off the ball. You've just got to adjust here and there. For more details on that, check out our YouTube channel where I give you snippets, just like one minute video, 2 minutes video on how to get your financial goals intact despite the economic headwinds. So today, let's just quickly get started with the business news because we'll have quite a lot for you. President Tinubu will travel to New Delhi, India, to attend the G20 Leaders Summit. This is according to a statement issued by the presidential spokesperson, Ajuri Ngelale. Ngelale said that the president will deliver keynote addresses at both the Nigeria-India Presidential Roundtable and the Nigeria-India Business Conference, adding that the president aims to leverage this platform to attract global capital and promote increased foreign direct investment in key labor-intensive sectors of Nigeria's economy for job creation and revenue expansion. This is just coming in. The National Union of Banks, Insurance and Financial Institutions employees have directed a total shutdown of the financial sector for 2 days, starting from Tuesday, September 5. The directive is in compliance with the warning strike notice issued last week by the Nigerian Labour Congress. The Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NAITI, has revealed that distributable revenues into the Federation account declined by 23% in the Q2 of 2023 to 2.04 trillion naira compared to 2.32 trillion naira in the first quarter of 2023. NAITI disclosed that the 3 tiers of government shared a total of 4.37 trillion naira from the Federation account in the first 6 months of the year. Each tier of government received more than 1 trillion naira over this period. The Central Bank of Nigeria has disclosed in its economic report for the second quarter that the federal government's expenditure surpassed revenue by 1.43 trillion naira in the first 3 months of the year. The Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, stated at a media briefing that oil production in Nigeria surged to 1.6 million barrels per day from the previous figure of less than 1 million barrels per day a few months ago. Kyari also reported a 30% reduction in petrol consumption attributed to petrol subsidy removal by President Tinubu. The Minister of Solid Minerals, Dele Alake, has said that the federal government will set up the Nigerian Solid Minerals Corporation soon. Alake, while speaking at a press conference on Sunday, stated that the government is ready to take the bull by the horns to reap the $1 trillion worth of minerals under the ground across the country. On a bid to increase funding for science and technology and innovation and create an enabling environment for African technology adoption, experts have called for stronger collaboration with relevant stakeholders to harness the potentials of semiconductor technology in transforming Nigeria into a global powerhouse for economic advancement. Take a listen.
Popular components of electronic chips made for computing a variety of electronic devices, with global valuation projected to soar from $500 billion in 2021 to over 1 trillion euros by 2030. Semiconductors industry's potential have never been more compelling. Shehu Tijani runs Amatech Technologies and speaks on the prospects for semiconductor technology in Nigeria.
You can actually create 3 industries in this semiconductor. The first one is extracting these raw materials from ground, which are silicon, sand, germanium. We have them all over in Nigeria. So the first thing is extracting these raw materials. Okay, have an industry that processes these raw materials into what we call silicon. So if you look at this, from the extraction alone, you are creating jobs for the youth. Then you take it to the industry where you're going to process, or a refinery where you're going to refine the raw materials. So from there also, if you look at it, you're creating jobs that I cannot even tell you the numbers. And then from there, you produce what is called a silicon. Do you know, from that silicon alone, we can export it and generate forex for the country. So now, again, you're going to have another industry that is going to process the silicon into what is called a wafer, right? So when you have that industry alone is an industry sitting on its own, which you can use to, create an employment in the country that can boost our economy.
The tech expert is also advocating that the new Minister for Technology and the Tinubu's government dedicates a semiconductor agency and public-private partnership in Nigeria to leverage the industry's boundless potentials.
The government we just need to have a political will. We are already, we are the one championing this cause, and we have been communicating. We began to communicate with the right agencies, and the ministries in charge of this, that look, we need to start looking inwards. We need to start looking at these, our raw materials. But we need to be working with ministers or ministries like Solid Minerals, because that is the starting point where you're going to extract all those raw materials from. And then you need to have Naseni, you need to have a Minister of Science and Technology, and lastly, you need to have a Minister of Communication and Digital Economy. You can actually create, an employment and industry under them. For example, the mineral resources, you can have an industry that does the processing of these raw materials I just mentioned earlier, silica, sand, germanium, etc. And then science and technology, they'll be involved in terms of the research of these raw materials plus Naseni. And then you have digital economy, where they will come in terms of, chips production and designing and the digital economy.
Africa's youths were challenged to take the reins of their continent's destiny as architects of the future by embracing semiconductor technology.
The African Export-Import Bank, Afrexim, has signed a $400 million term loan facility with the China Development Bank aimed at improving access to trade finance for SMEs on the continent. Afrexim Bank says it will deploy the facility to smaller companies in trade, both externally and within Africa, as well as those in the productive sectors. The federal government has disclosed plans to review and reduce tax waivers given to companies operating in Nigeria as total tax incentives hit 6 trillion naira yearly. The chairman of the Presidential Tax Reform Committee, Taiwo Oyedele, disclosed this. And Oyedele said the move aligns with the committee's mandate to revamp Nigeria's tax sector to boost economic growth. Earlier reports had put the average annual tax waiver figure at about 5 trillion naira. As rapid technological growth continues to fuel digital transformation across the globe, there is a growing need for data skills and literacy. As part of Data Lead Africa's commitment to promoting inclusion in digital technology, the Deaf in Tech team of the organization have undergone training aimed at empowering the less privileged and equipping them with relevant skills and knowledge to achieve defined goals in the near future.
Technological growth continues to fuel digital transformations across the globe. There is a growing need for data skills and literacy. As part of Data Leads Africa's commitment to promoting inclusion in digital technology, the Deaf in Tech team of the organization have undergone a training aimed at empowering the less privileged and equipping them with relevant skills and knowledge to achieve defined goals in the near future. The assistant head teacher for Abuja School for the Deaf, Bamidele Oliatan, said the training was designed to help the deaf community make informed and better decisions on their vision, goals and plans for effective administration and management.
What they have acquired today will be meaningful to their future, especially the less privileged among them, the deaf and dumb, among the children. There are opportunities for them to shape their futures, not running around the streets, not begging, but there are things that can make their future better.
The program's manager at Data Lead Africa, Ojon Akol, emphasized the skills will empower them to be skillful and work better for growth and development.
We have been able to empower our deaf kids through the digital science program on use of mathematics and computer in this digital age.
I shall have practiced, shall have learned. Since I was a child, you always want to learn simple things. So all she needs is to do more training and get more knowledge about computer. Then step by step, and she will develop more better.
I've learned the input statement, I've learned the eval statement, I've learned how to comment, and I've learned how to make the user to input values inside the computer. Also learned that intention is very important in programming. So far, this Python for Kids program has inspired me and will help me in my future.
It is pertinent to continually equip the less privileged Nigerians on digital skills and technology necessary for economic advancement.
Kristalina Gogevia, the managing director of the International Monetary Fund, has stated that trade settlements in local currencies will contribute more to the growth and prosperity of emerging economies and developing countries. Chinese Premier Li Qiang met with the IMF managing director, and both parties agreed to expand their collaboration. Japan has offered a $100 million loan to Jordan to assist with energy sector changes as part of its assistance for the kingdom's IMF's guided reforms. On the first day of the visit to Jordan, Japan's Prime Minister Yoshimasa Hayashi met with his Jordanian colleague.
We have just signed the exchange of notes for a concessional loan of approximately $100 million regarding electricity sector reform, as well as a grant of approximately $6.5 million regarding the stabilization of power supply.
Thank you.
And during the meeting, I welcomed the developments of a bilateral cooperation, including the increasingly active business interactions between private companies, as well as cooperation in the field.
The future is very promising in terms of the cooperation that will continue to be moving forward towards. Today we discussed cooperation in the areas of energy, water, development as well. Japan has been a very solid partner for Jordan, and we're grateful for the support that Japan has continued to provide to our development process.
Kenyan President William Ruto kicked off Africa's first climate summit on Monday by urging thousands of delegates in Nairobi to see the climate crisis as a unique opportunity for the continent to attract billions of dollars in investment. Ruto said that Africans must see in green growth not just a climate imperative, but also a fountain of multi-billion-dollar economic opportunities that Africa and the world is primed to capitalize.
Long time we have looked at this as a problem. It is time we flipped and looked at it from the other side. There are opportunities, immense opportunities as well. Before you guys went all over the place, we have ample renewable energy potential as well, and the natural assets and resources to green our own consumption, but also to meaningfully contribute to decarbonization of the global economy. We must see in green growth not just a climate imperative, but also a fountain of multi-billion-dollar economic opportunities that Africa and the world is primed to capitalize.
All right, just before we take a break, just to remind you again that the National Union of Banks, Insurance and Financial Institution Employees has directed a total shutdown of the financial sector for 2 days, starting from September 5, that's on Tuesday. The directive is in compliance with the warning strike notice issued last week by the Nigeria Labour Congress. So take note of that. All right, let's quickly take a break. And when we return from the break, we will continue the program. Do stay with us, but connect with us on all our social media platforms. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the program. This is Moneyline with Nancy. In case you're just tuning in, let's quickly bring you the interview I had with the governor of Cross River State and Senator Prince Bassey Otu just a few days ago. That was when? Was on Friday or Thursday. I was in Cross River State, Calabar, particularly last week for the International Cooperation and Investment Summit put together by the state government, and the summit was themed Paradigm Shift. I had a few minutes to talk with the governor exclusively on a range of issues, not even about the investment summit, but about issues around the economy right now, particularly even around palliatives distribution to states. States in Nigeria have gotten 2 billion naira cash for palliatives distribution. So as we are right now, 36 states and I guess Abuja too. Okay, 36 states. From the meeting that was held about a few days ago, the National Economic Council, states have gotten a lot of 2 billion naira. There would also be some other palliatives distributed to different states, as well as the indigenes in that state. I know that Nasarawa has started distribution of rice and some other food products. But what is Cross River State doing? I asked the governor of Cross River State, Senator Bassey Otu, to take a listen. Executive Governor of Cross River State here, Senator Prince Bassey Otu. Your Excellency, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, let's start with the burning issue now, which is palliatives distribution. I would like to know if your state has started distribution of palliatives. I'm aware that 2 billion naira has been credited to states in cash and trucks of rice. So I'd like you to expand on that and what palliatives could also mean for poor people in Cross River State.
Yes, actually, like you've said, we are in very difficult times. But be that as it may, it was very necessary to take out the subsidy so that we begin to actually build our economy. It is true that 2 billion naira has been sent, and we have started distribution of the palliatives. But we are discussing with labor and we are discussing with other informal sectors. Because actually, palliatives is not just about the workers, it's not just about some group of people, it's about the real needy and people who deserve palliatives at this time, because we know that the cost of transportation has gone up a bit, even cost of food and everything has gone up a bit. So we are looking at all our macroeconomic indices and even the micro to make sure that the palliatives get to the right people and will make the difference. We have updated our social register to make sure that that it is current enough and will stand the test of time. We're working with a couple of agencies to put them together, and I'm pretty sure not too long the impact will be felt statewide.
Okay, Governor, when you said you started distribution of palliatives, what do you mean by that? Have you distributed cash, or are you distributing food items?
No, for now it's been food items. Okay. For now it's food items.
Are there plans of distributing cash?
Yeah, we are looking at the register. I think we will do it, okay. Depending on what level of inflation and how it's going to affect the economy.
Okay.
That's why we updated our cash registers.
Okay. What does people mandate mean for Cross Riverians that are not even in the state right now? What is the meaning of people's mandate? What do you mean?
You know, because of what I would call the level of development and technology, humans have been ignored one way or the other. The emphasis has been on big infrastructure and so on. When you put all those things in place and you don't have healthy human beings that are moving around to use those things, you've not done much.
So would I take it to mean that you will concentrate on human development?
Yes.
Education and health? Is that what you mean?
Yes, our ministries. We have created a lot in terms of humanity. Okay. We have the Human Capital Development Interpreter, we have the humanitarian affairs, we have social work. Everything that affects a human being, we want to make sure that within a space of 2 years, 3 years, we address critically the basic problems that is confronting you, and apart from
Okay, so apart from education and health, which you've told me now, what are other key focus areas for you in this administration, the next few months in office, apart from other key priority areas that you think would be quick wins for you? Quick wins for you.
Well, right now, one cannot particular area and say this is where because it looks like we have emergency in almost all the sectors. So one is going to use a multi-sectoral approach to address some of the issues we have. A big percentage of our youths that are not engaged. That on its own area that we must go into it very, very quickly. That is why our concentration and focus has been in agriculture, to make sure we build a base. And then as we move to agriculture, we'll be looking at the ICT, the technology. So these are areas that can take a large chunk of people before we begin to look at other areas and then absorb the necessary shocks that will come out of it, then draw a proper stable economy for us to begin to achieve addition to our GDP growth rate.
Governor, when anyone thinks of Cross River, immediately they think of Calabar, think of tourism, about cleanliness. Is your administration going to do towards tourism potentials? A lot of people come here for the carnival in December. I know that in the last few years, of course, COVID happened, a lot of things happened. Is your administration going to also will be apt on hospitality of the people?
Yeah.
That would also concentrate on the cleanliness of the city once again?
That is very, very true. We are going to perform in those areas very, very well. Tourism is one of the sectors that we are giving a very big attention. We're happy the president had intention to get the ranch out of the present situation that it is. As a matter of fact, people from the ranch and then see what can be done back to life immediately. It's going to be we have to continue to add to recalibrate it properly so that we have proper private sector participation. You know, in this government, it is very clear that for a government to move with the economy, it has to be privately driven. So we're trying to make sure that we carry all parties along so that people's interests will be protected. Anything is involved, they will protect it. So that is where we are driving to. So we are inviting you to the carnival this December. We're looking forward to see you, definitely.
I'm so glad to come at 2 days Cooperation and Investment Summit.
Yeah.
I saw that you sat all through from actions. You've been meeting with partners. What are you learning from the summit? What are the key takeaways for you? Perhaps deals and all of that, and how do you, leverage on some of the things that have happened so far?
Yes, actually, a lot has happened here today, you won't understand. You know, to be able to achieve what we've done within these few months, bringing people from all over the world down here, has not a very easy thing. One would say probably it can happen just like that. I believe that God's hand into it, and we've cut some deals here already.
Do you mind giving me an amount? I'm the money woman.
Well, I will not give you the details, but I know that we've done deals close to $300 million here already. Actually, one of them we'll be looking at in this administration is linking the state. You know, our state is a very big, and because of trying to move towards clean energy, we want to also make sure that we reduce the use of fossil fuels and all those things in transportation and so on. So we'll be building a railway right from the south here to the north. So for ease of transportation and then to make sure. I believe that the different papers in place and then begin to look at the contractors, and the moment that is done, I think we'll kick off.
Will you be able to complete it before 4 years?
That will be the target.
Okay.
But the future belongs to God. But that will be the target.
Okay. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
I appreciate so much.
All right, that was Senator Prince Basiotu, the governor of Cross River State, are giving me details around palliative distribution in Cross River State. For those of you that are Cross Riverians, I guess you should be interested in that. And of course, we're also following what other states are doing around palliatives distribution. All right, we will move into the next, but let's quickly take the market numbers now, shall we? We saw that the Nigerian market reached a historic high. Of course, in the month of August, the Nigerian market was up by about 3.4%, bringing the year-to-date return to about 31%. For last week, we saw that the market was up 3%. Friday's market ended at about 1.47%. Now, let's move over to the local bond market. It advanced in yields, while European markets yield settled at around 11.03%. For the Naira, it gained to 740 Naira 38 kobo to the dollar at the I&E window. Now, let's quickly move over to the United States there, where the Dow closed 100 points higher to kick off September. European markets are rising on China optimism. German DAX up 0.63%. For the Asian Pacific folks, it was mixed in early trade today, while Brent crude is trading at around $88 a barrel. Gold prices are rising to about $1,971 an ounce in early trade. Gold has really been oscillating around $1,009. What will it take to break to the $2,000 level? All right, joining me right now is my guest, Tajuddin Olayinka, who is the Chief Executive Officer at Wyoming Capital and Partners. Good morning, Mr. Olayinka. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you. You've been there for a while. Thank you.
Good morning, Nancy. It's my pleasure. Good
morning to you, Mr. Olayinka, and thank you for just waiting there. Now, the NGX, the Nigerian stock market, is the second best performing market for second quarter. That's last quarter in Africa. What is really happening to this market?
If you recall, I mentioned to you, just before we went into electionary campaign, and in fact, before we had the election of February 2023, that we had three contending forces, candidates of political parties that were pro-market. And so what that means that we are actually hoping to see a clear movement from a government that had some kind of public sector dominating focus to a new government that will probably have a private sector dominance. So market have started moving right from that, from that time when they realized that yes, even though we are having election, we are going to have election in February 2023, any of these three candidates will become president, and if once any of them become president, we are going to see a pro-market drive. And so market started reacting way back in November 2022, and of course up to this moment. So the moment President Bola Tinubu was sworn in as president and he moved straight into the philosophy of this market, of course, market was expected to react, and so that's the reaction we are seeing, and that is what has taken market to his current level. We haven't seen anything yet. It's still going to move beyond that. Oh,
are we going to be approaching 70,000 points level for the broad index before the end of the year?
Maybe not immediately, because what we are likely to see going forward, you see more companies come to list on the exchange. You see more companies that are already listed, issue new shares, issue new securities to further deepen the market, so that we have, array of securities that we can trade. And at that point, of course, you see some moderation. Yes, it may get there, but I do not really think it should get there at this time, because this is the time, or this is an opportunity for all these public companies to come and list on the exchange and raise new capital. Because at this point, we have, there is this opportunity of raising money at a lower cost of capital, and that is what the board of any company, would always like to see. And so it's an opportunity for them. So as soon as we begin to have them, we'll see some moderation, because we now have more securities trading on the exchange that investors can actually take into their portfolio. So yes, it will still move further up, but not necessarily that it should get to that 70%. And if you get to 70%, it will be that the foreign investors are actually in the market now, and of course participating.
Okay, so if I got you right, Mr. Olayinka, you said what is actually driving this bull run is because of the posture of this administration. No matter who was declared the president of the country, all three frontliners are market friendly, or they were market friendly candidates. Are there some other factors? Are there some other factors that is actually driving this bullish run? Because I would say the honeymoon period of the president is coming to an end gradually. So what can actually be driving this market, where we're also seeing that many of a few of these companies listed on the exchange have been suffering foreign exchange losses? Some of the companies also listed, GSK, for example, that was listed, or is it still listed, has said that it's going to exit the country because it's been suffering for the last few years. So where else is the market drawing that optimism from, apart from pre-elections, elections, and perhaps the posture of Mr. President in terms of putting the economy right?
Okay, Nancy, anytime you have a government running, adjustment program, see, let me say clearly, what the government is doing is to reset the economy. It is a normal development in an economy where the previous government had, placed too much emphasis on, public sector dominance. When you do public sector dominance, you are doing effectively is to fund your budget through debt, is to put government in the forefront of everything that we do. And in most cases, that never achieved any result. And so the moment you see a government that is private sector centric, you are likely to see more activities. You are likely to see more profitability. Anything you see now is a temporary development. Of course, we market expected that there will be that FX challenge for some companies, especially those companies that had their net foreign assets liability. Like those manufacturing companies who are ordinarily buying forex, doing LCs and all those things, importing from abroad to be able to if we normally.
Oh, okay. It seems that we've lost a connection there with Mr. Olayinka. Let's quickly take a break, and when we come back, we'll try as much as possible to see if we can get Mr. Olayinka on. Welcome back. We're glad to have Mr. Tajuddin Olayinka, the Chief Executive Officer of Wyoming Capital and Partners. Mr. Olayinka, welcome back. The network actually froze earlier.
Okay. I noticed that here too. Okay, so what I was saying is that the companies in the consumer goods sector, basically the manufacturing sector, and maybe some other sectors like that, including cement, they are likely to have net dollar liability. So those companies with net dollar liability will have, FX valuation challenge. But those companies with net dollar asset will normally have an improvement, and that's why you see that why the manufacturing sectors are complaining of this dollar challenge. The banking sectors that normally will have a net dollar asset will, of course, will have an appreciable movement. So that's why you are seeing that. But like I said, this is a temporary development. Once a country or economy is going through an adjustment program, you are bound to see this. I think we should emphasize the end result of the adjustment, not the beginning of the adjustment, because the beginning of adjustment is usually very painful. Adjustment program comes with pains. If you recall, Babangida did something close to this between 1985 and 1993. In fact, it started way back in late 1985 and then 1986. So that is why we seem to be having this kind of challenge, but eventually it will ease off. So I don't think honeymoon is over. Honeymoon maybe in terms of public reaction to all this or public outcry against all these policies, but these are policies that are necessary, that government must embark upon, because you cannot afford to do otherwise. If President Buhari had remained for another 3 to 6 months, probably by now we'll be having balance of payment crisis. And so, if you want to avert balance of payment crisis, you need to take this option. And that is what happens. Most companies will react definitely, but eventually we will settle at a point where we will have a better economy.
Mr. Olayinka, what is different with this highs that we're seeing in the market from 2008? Because the last time the market experienced this was in 2008. That should be like 15 years ago. Oh, how time flies. Exactly. Yeah, that's like a decade and a half. Wow. I remember I was on that floor then at the stock exchange.
I remember seeing you. I remember seeing you that time.
Yes.
You and Bossy.
Yes, 15 years ago, and how time flies. And 15 years down the line, this is where we are.
It's back there.
Yes.
It's back there.
Yes. So how is it different from that time, what we're seeing now from what we saw before? And don't give me that what we saw then was attributed to the fact of margin lending and all of that. Are there other things that we can attribute to the fact of this historic high, apart from also what you've told me, that Tinubu is a bull? I don't mean it literally, but of course for market participants, they understand what I mean. Apart from that, what else?
Okay, well, if you say I should not talk about what happened that time, there's a significant difference, because we can't take that away. I'm not going to say because of bank credit to the market that actually made that market go to the level we saw it that time. It was also because of the policy of that government. That government too was also pro-market. The government of President President Olusegun Obasanjo was actually pro-market. It was even the main pro-market government. But the only difference between this one and between that one and this current government is that Obasanjo made the best use of people. He used economic experts. He used the combination of Soludo in central bank and what do you call her now? The woman in the
Okonjo-Iweala.
Okonjo-Iweala, that combination with some other economic experts that drove that program. So anytime you are running an adjustment program in this way, you need to put experts there. And I think that is the direction this current regime is also going. They are likely to recruit some adjustment consultants to actually work with the Minister of Finance and work with the Governor of Central Bank, because you need them at both ends to drive activities. The government of President Olusegun Obasanjo was largely supply side driven. It was running supply side factors. It was privatizing. It was selling companies. It was in fact he had even sold what do you call it, refineries to Dangote before he left. Until Yar'Adua came and of course discarded that idea. And today we are regretting that that decision of Yar'Adua. So anytime you see government that is pro-market, supply side driven, of course, you are bound to see this kind of reaction, and of course, you see a beautiful market. Okay. Market reacted not only because of that credit expansion to the market, but because of the fact that the policy of the government at that time was friendly. And so, what we are seeing today is also a similar policy, but yet to feel the impact of a supply side policy. Supply side policy produced Dangote cement. So we are likely to also see similar action or similar policy decision for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu going forward. Okay. So that's why I said we are yet to see, the bull.
Okay, so Tinubu is not yet a bull, as it were. It's not yet a bull, but I'll allow you to answer that when we come back from this break. Let's quickly take a short interlude there. We'll be right back.
I need something we go ginger me. With Tom, I dey breathe for it now.
Right, Mr. Tajudeen Olayinka is still with me, the Chief Executive Officer at Wyoming Capital and our partners. Mr. Olayinka, I was actually saying earlier, if President Tinubu is a bull, because what we've seen since he came in has been a bullish market. So we can say his animal characteristic is that of a bull, as it were. I'm not, for people that are listening now, we are not abusing President Tinubu, or we're not insulting him. It's a market term. Let me put it that way, so that they don't think we're insulting anyone. So would you say that President Tinubu is a bull, as it were?
Yes, he is, because even the president himself understands what a bull market does. So he's not going to take it as an abuse, because he knows that when you want to have bullish sentiment, it points in the direction that you are going to have a better economy going forward. So the stock market is the barometer of the economy. It's pointing at what will happen in future, not what we are seeing now. If what we are seeing now are those pains that people feel, these short-run pains, short-run adjustment pains, so much of this pain, I don't like it. No, you would think that the market will not move. But in the long run, when our factors become variable, of course, we'll see more bullish market, and of course, more stable market as well.
Okay, Mr. Olayinka, I would like to get your views. I don't know if you saw the news that just came in. I took it earlier. The Union on Banks, Insurance and Financial Institutions employees have directed a shutdown of banks and financial institutions from tomorrow and Wednesday, of course, for the warning strike by the NLC. How do you think that this will impact the market? And for people watching us right now, of course, we have many Nigerians that are bank account holders that do business with financial institutions. What should we expect tomorrow and Wednesday? And tomorrow and Wednesday, will the NGX trade? Have you gotten any signal from the NGX if the strike would affect the trading on the floor Tuesday and Wednesday?
No stock market closed in any part of the world because of strike. So the stock market will open tomorrow. Not only the fixed income market will open. All securities markets that are linked to Nigeria will open tomorrow, irrespective of what happens with the strike. Yes, there will be strike, but the banking sector strike and will probably be limited to their general staff. The bank too will still open, do skeletal services. The bank will not even shut down completely because of a threat of strike. They have a way of going around that. And so it's not. I don't see it as a serious challenge. Okay. Of course, when you see employees of the banks staying out of work, of course it will slow down activities there. But of course, this is a temporary something. It will be resolved. I believe Labour and government will go into talk and resolve all these short-term pains. It's a short-term pains, and they also need to understand that. I will advise Labour leaders to show understanding, to work with government, because if you do otherwise, you can imagine the government using an NPT to raise $3.something billion to be able to improve dollar liquidity in the FX market. It's not going to be an easy ride. Adjustment program is never a cheap party. Everybody must come to the table and show understanding. I will advise them to show understanding. I will also advise government to bring experts that can anticipate crises, that can anticipate problems that are related to adjustment program or economic research. So they need to come with experts to drive this program so that we have success at the end of the tunnel.
Mr. Olayinka, for the valuations we're seeing right now on the market, are these valuations right valuations? Are you still seeing opportunities for valuations on the market? Then number two, how should investors really position in terms of portfolio adjustment at this time? Then thirdly, we're also seeing that earnings or companies listed on the exchange are releasing earnings. GTCO and some other companies have also released earnings. Are there any companies there that are really surprising you and your colleagues?
Well, I can only talk of that of manufacturing sector that are not, consumer goods sector that are not really having very good results at this time because of this temporary problem. And like I say temporary because it's a problem that we are going to really put behind us, as we move into, the benefit of this program that is ongoing. Yes, for the banking sectors, I'm not totally surprised because that was quite expected. Anytime, like I mentioned earlier, anytime you have a company that is having next dollar assets, is bound to have this kind of result that we saw in GTB. The same thing we saw in First Bank. The same thing we saw in, I think a couple of them have released results that are fantastic. I'm also hoping to see the same thing in Zenith and some other companies like that. So basically, yes, for some, it's a surprise, but for banking sector, not really a surprise. But for the consumer goods sectors and manufacturing sector, of course, you are bound to see that. And of course, anytime you see that, they also have to adjust their prices to be able to recover these losses. There are losses that are recoverable, because so far you don't have a going concern threat. You are still in the market, you can operate, and you can recover costs. They'll recover these costs. These are short-term. These are what economists call short-term adjustment factors.
Mr. Laika, can you give me stock recommendations this week? You are the expert. What are your stock recommendations this week? And let me also sound a note of warning to people watching us. Seek investment advice according to your own financial risk from your own investment advisors. But what are your stock market recommendations? What are your stock recommendations this week?
Yeah, for those who are doing short-term trading, those who are just who want to be active, in and out trading, they should still stay with the banking sector. If you are for equity, stay with the banking sector and ride the bull and bear there. Then those who want to invest for the future, the consumer goods sector is yet to really have a significant showing in terms of price movement. Those are the stocks of the future. Those are the stocks that will eventually drive, put economy on its right level. And so those stocks will also move in future. So those who are looking for pension stocks and all those things, take banking stocks, take consumer goods sector stock, and few other stocks in that. And of course, oil and gas. Those ones will not get it on. Take oil and gas, and then of course, maybe some insurance stocks that are still having low prices, extremely low prices. Because those stocks are still heavily underpriced. So some of them, some investors can take that too, going forward. But technology stock, the telecom sector, MTN and the Airtel, and of course any other, because there have been some companies that will also be listed on the exchange very soon. So when those companies are listed on the exchange, it's also an opportunity to bring some more stock to your portfolio. And don't forget, fixed income security is also a balancing factor. Don't have a portfolio that does not take into consideration fixed income security like treasury bill and federal government bonds.
Okay, Mr. Laika, one last question for you. What is the best investment advice this month that you would give to people that are invested in the stock market, or perhaps that have not even invested in the stock market? What would be your best investment advice at this time?
The best investment advice is to tell investing public not to go to market barefooted. Use advisor, use stock market advisor. Don't go to market without wearing slippers, because you can match your legs, on a very sharp object. It's important to take advice from, professionals who are stockbrokers, asset managers, to help you, and also have a long-term view about the market. Don't be discouraged by short-term price movement. Those things won't last. Eventually, market will settle at a point, and you see appreciable movement. Don't buy high and sell low. Try to buy low and sell high. If you want trade, and of course use market experts like stockbrokers and asset managers to advise you. Don't go market barefooted. It's dangerous.
Thank you very much, Mr. Laika. That advice is something we should take. Don't go to the market barefooted. It depends on the kind of footwear you will wear. Some will wear slippers, some will wear shoes. Some you may need rain boots. You may actually also need rain boots when there's chaos, So thank you for that advice. Thank you so much for that advice. And thank you for sticking with us. Thank you, Mr. Laika. I wish you a great week.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
All right. I've been speaking with Tajuddin Olayinka, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Wyoming Capital and Partners. You've heard it from him. Don't go to the market barefooted. In fact, I will add, don't do anything financially barefooted. Wear goggles like I'm wearing now. Wear your glasses. Look well, especially in this current economy. Be the best you can be. I'm going to change that you want to say. I'll see you all again tomorrow, God willing, this 11 to 12 p.m. on this station. I am Nancy Naji. Bye.